All right, we're live. I think it worked. I was only like 4 minutes late, so that's pretty good considering. Happy April Fools! Did you wonder whether or not I was actually going to come online? Well, I wouldn't lie to you guys, so. Tonight, I'm going to be painting this fella. He is the king of nothing, and he's a Hordes Grimkin model. And this is him right now. But he'll look pretty finished, maybe, by the end of this. Base has already been started, and so we just need to get his colors on. And he's really, really pretty basic, so I'm hoping that I can maybe finish a model on stream. That'd be kind of cool. So, hello to everybody. Sorry if I look disheveled. It's been a rough day already. I barely got home in time to set this all up, so yes. So, thank you to everybody in the chat. Samuel, I see you're here. Viper, welcome. Space Wolves, always good to see you, man. Diamond, nice. Appreciate you being here. And some good chatter happening before we even got here. My goodness. Jan Scott, hello. Right. And J Alex, welcome. Oh, happy birthday. Thank you. Yeah, I had a great birthday yesterday. I ate way too much cake, and I didn't feel great about that today, but it was fine. It's fine. And then I just worked a million hours today, so it's great. Paul, thank you for being here. Pretty soon we'll be talking about Galaxy Quest and it'll be chaos. Oh dear. Oh, we're already in the movie chat? Oh yeah, let's do it. I haven't even seen any movies recently. What's the last one I saw? Oh yeah, I watched a really weird one. Me and Orson Welles. It was very strange. It was okay. It was very hammy, but whatever. It is what it is. At least you're holding up for an old lady. Yeah, I'm hanging in there. Despite the shutdown, I say copious amounts of Earl Grey tea are the secret to eternal youth. Because all that caffeine content's gotta do me some favors. Okay, back to my little Citadel holder here and hoping I have all the right stuff. Make sure my brush is appropriately wetted. But yeah, how's your week going so far? We know that March was an awful month, so I don't know what April's going to bring. We'll see. If nothing else, it's gonna get some more stuff painted, right? My mom hadn't told me an alarm went off, I wouldn't have. Oh, right. Well, thank you, Tim, and I appreciate you being here. Okay, I'm going to start painting, and then I'll answer questions, and beyond that, everything else is just going to be chaos. I think we can agree to that. And yes, as Paul says, or I guess as, J. Alex, my son just went back to his mom after 14 days of isolation with me. I'm proud we're reuniting, virtually speaking. Aw, that is really good. It's that nice thing, like that we have the internet is an enormous help, right, to all of this. All right, I have to see exactly what it is. Okay, so he's mostly brown, and then he's like gray. We could do some of that. Do I have my gray here? I don't know. Everything's a mess. I guess he'll get a little bit of face coat too. Oh, he's warts. This will be interesting. So, we're working on that. April will bring spring showers. Oh my gosh, I know. I wouldn't mind attempting, once again, to get a hold of, what is it? To reattempt to create a yard in my backyard, like a lawn, I should say, because I've got a really huge backyard, and in New Mexico, you have to sort of foster things to life really carefully, and I'm super negligent, so it's been something it's hard to keep up with. It's really hard to grow a lawn, so I've been struggling with that. But I'm going to try again, maybe one of these days. Are you guys all still in isolation? I have still been having to go to work, and I'm actually working even more right now, but I didn't know how everyone else was being affected. I know some folks are getting some extra time to paint, some extra time with family and the kiddos, which is good. It's definitely some positive news. So I'm just getting the brown here as the base coat to start with this guy. Now, overall, this bark is probably going to get like a gray dry brush over it, but we'll have sort of the inner root be brown. And that way it just looks more like an aged, sad tree, because the king of nothing is, he sort of makes everything wilt around him. That's his deal. April will bring more Glade Guard, and maybe I'll finish the Scotia Grendel Elf Rider on Earthbound Dragon. I started who knows how many years ago. Hey, that's awesome. Are you guys like finding old projects that you never ended up finishing or that you shelved way back when and are getting to finish up now? Because that sounds like something that could potentially have happened in this shutdown of absolutely everything. I like how you're cranking up your Grimkin minis, full paint productions now. You know, it's so encouraging because Grimkin are such a limited release faction, and Privateer announced that 2021 will see new Grimkin models, which gives me the entire rest of the year to get all of my Grimkin work done, which I'm very excited about. And every time I've played them, I just have so much fun. Like, they really are just a blast to play. And so, this will be my, third Warcaster? I don't really have a lot of Warcasters for them either, so it's probably good to get this one painted up. I mean, at some point anyway. As you can see, I'm going super fast. Overall, he can pretty much be entirely painted brown because like his hands will be skin color, but mostly he's just wearing brown. He's very earthy. And then we'll get some colors in as little dots of color, you know. Purple on the mushrooms. There's an apple on here that'll be red. And so you use those dots of color to focus your attention. Without everything being super colorful, which is actually my preferred way. Hey Todd, welcome to All Working in Healthcare. Thanks. Be safe and God bless you. I'm in there, Ishaba. That is a true statement. They're doing a great job and they're working their hearts out. Which is also to say, don't go to the hospital if you don't have to. But do if you have to. Just know. Just understand your body enough to do that. Man, we're already making so much progress. This tree is bigger than this little guy. Which I guess would be normal, but whatever. Brown on pretty much everything. So his little story is that he hates all the world. He just wants to be left alone. But oh, how the people want him. If I recall. It's been a while since I read his little story. The Grimkin book is kind of delightful, though, in the way it's written up. He's pretty powerful, I think. I've never played him. He's not painted. So I guess we'll get to fix that. There was a question I saw posted on my varying Facebook groups that made me wonder. It said, so with the quarantine, how many people's, like, I guess spouses are learning how to play tabletop war games, like 40K or War Machine? Does any of that apply to you guys? Have you been trapped with somebody that you've then, like, you know, strongly encouraged to learn to play these games with you? Miranda, have you ever tried Monster Apocalypse? No. However, Privateer was very sweet, and before even more crazy shutdown happened, they sent me Riot Quest. And as I understand it, Riot Quest is super easy to learn. So now I just need to sneak some friends over so that I can learn to play it properly with some people. So Riot Quest, that's on the possibility burner. But no, not Monpoc. I know people played it back in the day, and that was kind of before I guess I got into it, because I got into this again in 2011. Like I played before that, but I got back into it in 2011. So I think Monster Apocalypse was already kind of stopped at that point, and then when they came out with it all again, like I know a lot of people got into it, but I mean it's sort of all I can do to keep up with playing War Machine. As sad as that sounds. There we go. So I'm using sort of a sloppier brush just to get coverage on this. And with something like a tree bark, and it might make sense to like water down your brush a little bit for the sake of coverage and getting into all the little nooks and crannies. But in the case of the tree bark, since there are a lot of nooks and crannies, you've got to really kind of work the paint into a lot of those areas and make sure you are constantly rotating your model to make sure you did not miss something. Won't matter too much. Again, we're gonna go over it with gray. Probably a wash of some sort. Not committed. I don't know if I'd use Null Noil on this one or if I'd use more of like an Agrax Earthshade. Alright. It's looking pretty good there. He's got gold on his crown though, so we're gonna still put brown on his crown because that is the base for my gold. Anyway. Saw Mini Wargaming Dave post a video, shall I teach my wife 40K? I bet Farrah would do really well at it. She's a smart lady. I like her. If you've ever met Dave's wife, or if you've never met Dave's wife, she's a super awesome lady. So. And they have the cutest dog. It's a little Labradoodle. Oh my gosh. So adorable. I miss dogs. And there we go, missing all the little nooks and crannies, this time in his pant and shirt. We're catching it though. There, he's basically like entirely brown. Except for a little face. Alright, let's see what people have actually been saying in the chat. Sorry. I was trying to get this part done. I'm finally getting resettled into the new home office space. Looking forward to getting productive in the coming days. Hey, that's awesome, Jay Alex. I'm really glad to hear that. Good evening, one and all. Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh, this whole week. I've not had any idea what time of day it is or what day of the week it is. It's a little crazy. Thomas, welcome. I'm just trying to hurry up on mine because I look forward to building my ship again. Oh my gosh, yeah, you've been doing a great job on that, by the way. And thank you for pressing the like button on anybody who did it. J. Alex, I wrote my bestie Sheila a D&D backstory today. Yes, that definitely counts on the creative elements. And now everyone understands why you own multiple armies for your game systems. Oh yeah, no kidding. I've been trying to get him to play, but he has no interest at all. Oh, I'm sorry. I know the feeling. My buddy and I have been playing Warcry on Tabletop Simulator. Oh, are there actual modules in the workshop for that? Because I have Tabletop Simulator. It's one of the games I've been needing to really figure out, because Paul and I are supposed to play Kill Team on this at some point. But I have not had any days off, and I've been actually working more, so I'm even less available, which has been ironic. Well, for me, my family is across the pond in the southeast of Indonesia, so I can't play with them, but I do online games. Oh, that's cool. So you're kind of used to it anyway, I guess. For tonight, I'm working on Old Witch 1 and Scrapjack. Oh my god, I love those. And Old Witch 1 is a friggin' awesome caster. Especially when you get like the Berserker spell on to Scrapjack and he just runs around mulching infantry. One of the most satisfying games of War Machine I ever played. Oh, I got a new subscriber. How exciting. One of the most exciting games of War Machine I ever played was against somebody who was like, oh yeah, I know what this caster does. Like, that's fine. And then I proceeded to mulch his entire army with Scrapjack just berserkering, just... And he was like, let me see that card again? because I always show people, like, here are my cards, because I print them like a decent human being to play, so you can just read them, especially since you don't have the online mode anymore to share armies in War Room. And he's sort of like, yeah, that's fine. I know what it does. I had no idea. It's so great. One of my favorite games ever. Riot Quest is bonkers fun. So I keep hearing that. Like, my friend Zeke over in, I guess, Chicago, but from Indie Storm, he is super into it. He thought that was a really fun game. And I've got it, and they sent it to me, and so I need to earn that and play it. So I do play Monster Apocalypse. Oh, good. Okay. One of these days I will try that. J. Alex, I don't own any of my own wargaming figs, and now that my son is back with his mom, I have no one to play with. Tabletop Simulator. I'm finishing Harlow Hold'em High right now. Hold'em High? You can now see some progress on Miranda's Facebook channel, too. So many projects, so many projects. It's easy to add them up, right? I don't suppose we can do Twin Sun or Dust on Tabletop Simulator. I don't know, honestly, Jax. It would just depend on if there's a module in the workshop, which I think is how you do it, unless you maybe build the elements in Tabletop Simulator. I own it and have yet to really use it. Like, I went through the little tutorial and learned how to flip the table, and that was about as far as I got. And then I've been playing a lot of Dreadlands if I'm on Steam, so maybe? Sarah from CPA would work as Shade. Yeah, I think you're right. Hello, peoples. And non-peoples. Welcome, Bills. Appreciate you being so magnanimous. Most of the models can be found on Tabletop Simulator, and many cards can be found online and imported. We're basically trying bans from every faction. Nice. Got a good handle on Tabletop Simulator so far, so we can speed you up. Get you up to speed quickly. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that, because I will need it. Ooh, the new Battletech. Oh man, I would play Battletech on a Tabletop Simulator. And for my birthday, I was given Warhammer Total War 2. So I'm like, I really want to play this too. It's just a hot mess. So many things I want to play. Maybe if you want some extra help. Aw, look at all these friendly statements in here. All right, let's get back to work. His face. Let's get some color on his face. Now, he is sort of dingy because he hides away. He's got a lot of pink in there, like red undertones. It's kind of interesting. I think I'll let his face be more sepia smushed. So I'm just going to get like a regular, boring skin tone on his face. And it also looks like he's maybe wearing gloves. Fingerless gloves. That's what he's doing. All right, well, let me get a little bit more brown on that then. Oh, wow, and I missed a spot already. Constantly finding stuff I missed. So frustrating. Oh, well. It's nice to get the base coats out of the way, and then you get to do the fun stuff. But yes, base coats do basically take forever. Especially when you have to recoat. I mean, look at that. This is not okay. Right in there. You can see all of those little gaps. Come on, I know you want to focus. Stop looking at the paint back there. Look at that. You can see all these little bits of gray. And it's hard to tell sometimes while the paint's still wet, because you'll maybe think you have coverage when you don't. It dries up. I'm also using dirt cheap paint, so, you know, that might be something of a factor, I guess, if you're, you know, concerned about that sort of thing. All right. Sorry if I keep clearing my throat. I know that's not the most pleasant sounding on stream. Alright, and some smushing back in there. And, you know, some of it will be hidden once I've gotten more washes and such over it. Like, you can get that covered. But if you see something obvious, like, obviously fix it. No need to be a slob about it. You save that for other areas of your life. Conan, oh, Oh, thank you. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Got a lot of birthday wishes yesterday. It was super lovely. Not gonna lie. My ego was very satisfied by it. And it was nice. Like, sort of a hermit anyway, so that I didn't go out wasn't so weird or shocking. So, my dad still came by, even though he's not technically supposed to be running around, but he needed to pick up stuff in town anyway, so he came by. There we go. We're gonna call that good. Thanks, Damon. Appreciate you coming by. Have a good night. Total Warhammer. I now got both of them, and I really haven't played it. But now I've got this second one, and I really should play it. How many ministers do you want? All scales? I don't understand your question. Sorry. More budgies, hey! Back-to-back live streams. I know, I'm a loon, but I have been doing this every week since basically last June. And it's one of the things I can kind of keep up, and I've really been enjoying that, so. And I actually get stuff done. Your model is poking my eyes out. Oh dear. Well, he is, no, he's just standing on the stick. He's not using it for anything. Oh my gosh, is it really frozen again? Why is it evil? YouTube, so helpful. I fix it. I think. I hope I can fix it. All right. Always having to tell it to do new things. Ta-da! All right, fixed for now. Let's see how well it works. All those gray spots, contrast paints thinned with contrast medium would cover them more evenly. Really? I've yet to buy a contrast paint. I was really tempted at the store one day, and then I was like, for $7, I can get like 10 of these. So I did that instead. And then I picked up a lovely fluorescent pink, which I used on my clockatrice. And I have no regrets, so, I mean, who's really losing out here? Your skin will be more earthy. Let's go with this one. You can set up your phone to accept as a virtual scope. I don't know what you're talking about. That's the model for tonight. This guy is named the King of Nothing. He's a model for War Machine Hordes, specifically to the Grimkin faction. He is one of the many empowered individuals to come back out of Urkane in an attempt to fight the Infernals. And we're just going to ignore the fact that apparently the Infernals are winning and just assume that the Grimkin won, which is a history that I prefer. So, you know, he's getting painted up. That said, I do need to actually read the Henschuld scrolls. I'm totally behind on that, as with everything else. The theme of my life. It's like having a job and running a YouTube channel is basically impossible. Alright, his face is sort of getting there. Now, when it comes to any sort of skin tones, even though he's going to have little warts and grossness on his face, doesn't mean I want all my models to have that, especially when you paint like dust models and you want them to look like, you know, pinup art. Always, I do use good quality paint for that. So that's, what is this one? Fine. This one's Vallejo, and then I've also got a Citadel color. So for the skin tones, like, I don't use the cheap craft paints for that, for what it's worth. Applebear is a great brand, no lie. Warm. That's right, you know what you're talking about. Is it more accurate to spell it gray or gray? I don't know how they specifically delineate it. I usually use gray. I don't know, like the color gray. I think I usually go with A, Y, but I want to say that one of the grays I have here does say E. So, preference? Yeah, it depends on what country you're in. Like in America, we just use both constantly. Just meh. Oh yeah, Earl Grey tea. Here's the American phonetic spelling, which is how rebellious upstarts spell the color only. Oh, I'm gonna start using A more then. How funny. Grim can always win, no question. They're just so fun. And yes, by rights, they really should be defeating the Infernals. There's no reason for them not to. They've been preparing for this for ages. And, you know, specifically not being dominated is kind of their thing. So, in my view, he has tiny, tiny fingers. Oh dear. Alright, so we are going to use this very teeny tiny brush. Probably too tiny. You don't use a wet pad. I do not. I'm one of those monsters that uses paint right out of the lid. I mean, I'm not necessarily like a huge painter, guys. I just need to get my models painted. And then I just try not to be garbage at it. And beyond that, I'm just happy to have painted models. So I know, like Space Wolves and some other folks in the chat take a lot of pride in their work, and like they do a great job. Infernals cheat. You just have to cheat better than they do. I do hate rules like that, but they do. Just come in with cheap little marked souls and inflate their army points in the middle of your game. So frustrating. Actually could do with a little other layer here. It's got a strong purple theme happening with this. I mean, as far as the studio paint goes, I should say. I will probably incorporate some of that because I like the purple theme for the Grimkin. Believe it or not, Paul. So there's that. Paint was anxious fuse. I'm just clumsy. I mean, this is why I can't play like the Night Haunt. Even though they're really beautiful models, I know what their tragic end would be in my hands, so. Try some Winsor and Newton inks. Great addition to any paint arsenal. Alright. See if I can't keep my eye out for that. Do you have to order those specifically online, you think? Or, I don't know. Rebellious upstarts. I like that. Peter Groy. Oh, you guys are great. My friend Jimmy has the surname Gray, A-Y, and said at primary school over here the other kids would say his name is spelled wrong. Fair enough. GW paints are running out. Oh no, that's a problem. Have a good look at arm's length. It's like aluminium or aluminum. Hey man, US has done really well for doing it our own way. Mostly. US military expression, if you're not treating, you're not trying hard enough. Fair enough. It's sort of the Kobayashi Maru situation, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm just not convinced that the Infernals are so amazing that they can take out absolutely everybody, and I also am not super in love with the fact that Kara Sloan would join their ranks. It just doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Kind of gone overboard with the detail on my Blood Bowl team, but it's my quarantine project, so it's gotta last. That's awesome. Everybody's gonna have such gorgeous, beautiful armies when this is over. My friend in the gaming group is out of the hospital recovering from the virus, but sadly, a different friend in the same gaming club, his mom died. Oh no, I'm sorry, Dave. That's awful. And that's, oh god, it's just getting so bad out there. Poor guy. Papa Nurgle zombies, and then there's Grimkin. Yeah, but the Grimkin are like cute. Nurgle, I know everybody loves Nurgle, but so many warts and like the bile stuff. I can't do that. It's not okay. All right, let me stare at this picture again and see what the next step is going to be. I'm going to have to dry brush gray before I can paint on the little mushrooms. We can get some little patchwork going on with his shoulders. That sounds pretty good. And we can also get some red in on his little hat. So me being a simplify the colors person, the same red I'm going to use on his crown. I call it a hat because we don't have royalty in America. And then his patches are also going to be red. I really hope they don't make Infernals like Chaos, where they're as overpowered as the narrative needs them to be. Ah, yes. The love for Chaos is actually a little off-putting. I mean, and for the fans, like, that's totally fine. I just think, like, the game company gets frustratingly in love with it. There's, like, Chaos sort of reminds me of, like, people who play the Horde faction of World of Warcraft. It's like, yeah, you're just playing the ones the developers, like, loved the best, and it's all edgelordy and stuff. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really cool Chaos models. But I'm an Imperium girl. Love order. And, you know, the sisters are pretty cool. I ended up purchasing, well, I guess I posted on Twitter. Oh man, I should paint her up. My Banner Lady. Wow, being great for names tonight. Banner Lady, yes. So maybe I could work on that one at some point. There we go, nice dash of red, which will also be the apple. But I'm going to paint the apple later because, again, I have to dry brush gray over all of this, and I don't want to just have to do that again. So do what we can here. So the red does sit on the brown pretty well. So that's helpful. Not having to relayer a lot of red. And I don't need it to be a very strong red the way I would for, say, a Khador model. Just because well, you know, he's dingy, I guess, for lack of a better word. Man. Blonde guy with glasses you sent me once. I don't know. I lived in England for 4 years. Besides aluminum, there were some other things that took me a bit to get used to. Common people separated by language. On a more positive side, people are really enjoying this hobby in these times. It's a real blanket, and people are getting interested in this hobby. You have lots of spare time. Yeah, I mean, find the silver lining, right? Aluminum is awesome, lightweight, and it doesn't rust. I'll forgive your devotion to the Corpse Emperor for now. Oh, don't you worry. I'll have to introduce you to my little friend Stormlord in the future, or Budgies, and you'll see the true word of the Emperor. Just whap my model on the paint, because this is why I don't own nice things. It also doesn't help that I have an absurdly tiny desk. I mean, I really like my desk, but it's very tiny. And I cram a lot of stuff on it. So anytime I'm painting, it's like a 10-inch space maybe to work in. be the apple of your eye. Oh, wow. Well, you just did that. People love Nurgle because they're easy to paint well. Lots of green, brown washes, a few white, pink details to make them look really gross, and done. Suppose. I think that's like the primary reason. It may well be, because I do usually see just very well painted, gross models. Fun fact, randomly, for Valhalla, I'll be working on some lovely terrain for such nasty little factions. So that'll be the exciting thing that takes up a lot of my time when I finally get some. Get this red up a little bit more on his crown. I know I said overall he's going to stay dingy, and he will. He will, don't worry. But we still need it to actually look red. And I have a little bit of shaky hand going on tonight because a lot of caffeine and not as much sleep as I should be getting. There we go. Red, red, red. Oh, he's just coming along so lovely. I've already got 4 colors, technically, if you count the base. He's totally tournament legal. He's painted more than most War Machine models. So. There was some English dude who invented a compound named Starlight or something, and it was 100% heat-proof and fireproof, would not catch fire. He took his patent to the grave as offers on it were not high enough. Well, it's a brittle material, but are you guys familiar with aerogel? Because that stuff is basically heat-proof as well and an amazing insulator. But yeah, as far as the other thing, I don't know. Nurgle can be quick and dirty. I have got to edge highlight ultramarines and I'm dreading it. I bought some oil-based pencils to see if I can edge highlight with them. Oh, interesting. And they shall know no fear. Speaking of spelling, I once sent Miranda's message with the word color, armor, and honor. And the first reply was, how many extra U's are in this sentence? I can't remember. I sent you a meme. It was one of those about like making fun of the U's, and it was like we kicked you out or something like that, and I can't remember what it is anymore. It was brilliant though, don't worry. You're scheduling Miranda relax time for Valhalla? I hope so. I think it'll be pretty chill this year. Lord knows we're all gonna need a vacation by the time Valhalla rolls around, and so being up in the cabin and mountains, just playing games with the armies that you've got to spend like a month with in the year, just devoting your time to painting, should be kind of a good experience. All right, let's take a look here. All right, so it's got a little bit of gold. I don't know that I'm gonna really care about putting a trim around his hood there, but we can take, do I have a darker brown here? Hold on, I'm gonna go grab it. It's probably here somewhere. Oh, where'd all the colors go? That's one of them. And do we have a gray here? Come on, give me a gray. Winky now. Burnt umber. Another great other brown. And that will be helpful. Granite gray, AY. Don't know that, I think that's a little too light to put on it. I've got a different gray, where are you? Pewter gray, EY. They're not even consistent. See what we deal with here in America. We're all so confused. But yes, short answer, yes. I will be relaxing and playing and crushing my dear friends / enemies on the tabletop. It'll be amazing. Or getting crushed. I don't know. I'll have my Stormlord by then. I'm pretty sure. Reasonably sure. Maybe. My friend Flo is going to help me basically paint up a whole other army so that I can have like studio stuff out She's actually going to work on Menoth, I think. Yeah, Protectorate. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. She does such a good job. I remember that getting rid of you meme. Yes! Thank you, Paul. I know you did. Hey, Tarina. How are you doing? Good to see you. Speak and Spell. It's a robot edutainment fun from TI Texas Instruments. Great fun. Very addictive. Huh. Miranda, would it be in character for the model to have different color shoes? Not necessarily, just because he would have probably had the same shoes his whole life. Whereas if you had 2 different color ones, you probably had a couple of different pairs through your life, and like one got worn out, or you're just confused because you're spoiled, or you're like some sort of weird tweener kid who thinks that that's a really cool thing to do. So no, he's not going to have 2 different color shoes. I'm sorry. It's just, that's just not how he's gonna roll. It's not. All that gold, that can be dry brushed. Am I ready to dry brush yet? Let's try dry brushing some gray. Let's do it. We're gonna dry brush with this brush that I've been abusing all night, so this will be brilliant. And we'll actually put some in the squeezy bopper, my little palette. These little dollar store palettes are delightful. Love them. Okay. It's tiny, doesn't hold any paint, so you have to fight it. Try a good quality Kolinsky size 0 or 1. Whee! I ordered the Faber-Castell oil-based pencils, which arrived today, and also the Prismacolor ones. Yeah, a friend of mine uses the Prismacolor because she's a legitimate watercolor illustrator. She does the watercolor pencils. It's really good. Hi, Conan. Thanks for having fun. Almost raid time. Okay, go do the thing. I miss your War Machine battle reports. Me too. That's part of why a Protectorate of Menoth army is getting painted. I'll learn how to play Fallout. Are you bringing that? Would you bring it? I'll learn it. Don't like using the 0-1 for edge highlighting because I usually end up wasting paint in the belly of the brush bristles. Wow, a lot of talk about regional accents. Any tips for new painters? Oh boy. Simplify your colors. Literally advice piece number 1. Whenever you see a model, it's really easy to get overwhelmed with the number of colors that you think that it needs. And so like it's really helpful to limit that. So you can say, you know, all leather is brown, and rocks are always gray, and metal is silver. Sort of do that kind of thing, just to so here we are getting our grayness going. So you do that, and that way you don't end up with a kaleidoscope of colors that just look like this nightmare model here that Paul's been very kind about. But as you can see, her bow's a different color than her cloak, which is a different color from her chest piece, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna make an autumn looking elf, and it's just a damn mess. So don't do that. At least if you simplify the colors, then you sort of get a nice baseline to start from, and you can always go back and improve it and add more colors as you kind of get a sense of it, but it's gonna come down to experience. So like in this case, I'm excited to add a few different colorful elements on this guy because like the little mushrooms are growing on the tree, and that's an element you can kind of play with, but I wouldn't do something crazy like giving him a ton of colors on his outfit, for example. It doesn't make sense for this particular model anyway, but I just wouldn't do that just to, because it just overly complicates matters. So literally like piece number 1 is that. Limit your colors and sort of set some rules for it. It's kind of the easiest way to do it. It's much easier to get started when you know that too, because you know you're staring at this blank gray model and you're like, I don't know, where do I begin? The other thing, this is a tip, Jeremy, who I don't think is in the chat because he's been working a million hours at Amazon, is to layer up. So like right now we know that you know, the clothes on this guy is like one of the closest to the center, I guess, of the model. How do I describe this? Words are hard apparently tonight. try to paint so that the deepest most layer and recess of the model gets painted first, so that you can just sort of paint on top and build up layers that way without having to try and like get paint into something to color it when you've already painted around it, if that makes sense. So for example, the red on his crown goes on before I paint his crown gold, because the gold will be on top of this. And if I did that first, then it would be hard to paint the red in there because I might overspill and get over the gold. Wow, this is why I don't do painting tutorials. Wow, this is not explaining well. What else has happened in the chat? Always thin your paints. Yeah, listen to Samuel. Listen to my chat. They're like actually really good painters, and so they totally know what they're talking about. I'm 100% bringing with a ton of terrain and ready to teach folks the glory. All right, War Budgies, it's on. Last week I spent time painting the 2 hero characters from Shadows of Brimstone, basically a version of Warhammer Quest in the Old West fighting Cthulhu-type monsters. That's quite a mashup. My. Not always thin if you're Leadbelcher one. Not always. If you thin your Leadbelcher, you will end up crying. Oh dear. See, this is why I just err on not thinning my paints. Still like that model you don't like. It's because you're just a nice person, Paul. Like, bless your heart. You're just adorable and wrong. But yeah, whenever I started painting, I went to the game store, and the guy who's showing me, Mike, he was very patient. And he was telling me, he was like showing me specifically drawing on the highlights and stuff, which I think is probably the worst thing to show people brand new to painting models, to specifically paint on your zenithial highlights and all that, and lowlights. It's like, no, just paint the thing basically. Get that experience first, and you can do all the fancy crap later, if you even want to. Because the thing is, like, making a model look decent isn't hard. It's just when you want to really, really bam it up and you do really pretty work and you're exploring glazing and blending and wet blending and all that stuff, and then that's different. But you still need to know, you gotta know how to walk before you run, so do that. I went really on about that, I'm sorry. And yeah, contrast point paint seemed to be a good shortcut for people. Probably only thin about 50% of the time. Fair enough. Paint priority is key to painting clean. Ah, thank you, Space Wolves. That was literally something that I had to learn from just my dear friend, because it was not taught to me by a traditional painter. And so I don't know that, like, somebody who's really good at painting will necessarily think that picking your colors would be much of a challenge. It's like the argument about how people who are really naturally good at math are terrible teachers of it, because there's just certain concepts that they didn't have to work very hard to get, and it doesn't dawn on them that someone else might have to work harder to get it. So, all right, it's great. It's coming along nice. Look at that. Been smacking that on there. Oh, what did I do? Oh, my fluorescent pink fell. That's terrible. Unfortunately, I can't really justify getting a fluorescent pink on him. I don't think I can make that work. Not this time, anyway. I can see. Thanks for the tips, guys. I'm looking to start painting minis, but I have never painted before. Ooh, what kind of minis are you wanting to paint? Inquiring minds want to know. What else are we doing? All right. So he'll need a black wash, but we need to get some stitches painted. Oh, that's right. I grabbed that burnt umber. So let's take that color that I just set down on this desk. Where is it? There it is. Okay. Just shove a bunch of stuff over as if that's fine. Oof, make some space. There we go. Drink some tea. Also important. Oh, Larian, welcome. Oh no, Internet Explorer censoring you, man. saying those dang Australians don't belong in this chat. It's wrong, of course, because you're always welcome in my chat. But I'm sorry Internet Explorer is being a jerk to you. Aw, yes, thank you. I had a very nice birthday. I ate tons of cake. There was chocolate cake, yellow cake, and banana bread. And then somewhere in there, I think I ate something with protein. I'm not sure. Just hold eye contact and slowly dip the model into a jug of paint. Yeah, but you need an audience in order to really paint like that. Mr. Pilak, hi, welcome. Number 1 rule, enjoy the hobby. Personally, painting is my favorite aspect. I'm very glad. It is not mine. However, it is something that's grown on me. And it is really nice to be able to take a break and sit back and paint when you're kind of tired of playing or you're sort of like burnt out or, you know, just in sort of a state of mind where you might not be loving the game as much. So painting is actually just sort of like this peaceful part of that. And after a while, it makes you really antsy to play again. There we go. So we're going to use that burnt umber to get his little stitch marks on there. Stop trying to show the background. I'm not going to let you do it. I'm not going to let you. So yeah, you see that stitch on the ankle. So we're just going to paint in the little stitches for him. Let's do that. Glazing. What was the channel you mentioned you were on, Paul? Oh, yeah. Glazing is very useful for dimming down either edge highlights or the washes the bottom edges, which can look too bold. Yeah, see, and I've never messed with glazing. Pink for the mushrooms? Yeah, I'm kind of like thinking pink purple. I've got this and this. This ancient color that I've found in a box somewhere. So between the two of them, we can probably make sort of a brighter color. Or I could do the pink and then sort of wash it with the purple. So I might do that too. See? We'll see. I was like, good day, and the internet broke. That's what happens when you show up, Illyrian. Working on OBJ marker with Primaris Corpse among the rubble. I will have emergency beacon with the rabbit's foot object for MI3. Wow. We'll have loyalist colors worn off to show Alpha Legion colors. My goodness, this sounds really fancy, Viper. I think I can do that. I generally like to create things and painting while it seems long and tedious, the kind of thing that seems relaxing to do while listening to music or podcasts. Listen to all of those. Illyrian, snitches get stitches. Uh-oh, I might be having some internet problems, so bear with me. Although to answer your question, Illyrian, due to the virus outbreak, there's not enough supplies for snitches to get stitches. The new phrase is snitches end up in ditches. I read that one just today. And really, I'm hoping we don't lose our feed. It is getting a little grumpy with me, though. Still waiting for plaid in a bottle. Boy, that would be something. Alright, I'm going to quietly paint for a moment while YouTube attempts to catch up. Man, I'm really good. Banging the brush into the camera. Sorry about that. Alright. Lots of little stitches. Is this working? What would you guys recommend material tools-wise for a beginner? I wouldn't want to get cheap materials, but I don't want to break the bank either. Oh man. Well, a good set of brushes can go a really long way. You know, I've been using the Creature Caster Monument set. They've been really good. You can get GW stuff, but it's pretty expensive, and there's a lot of comparable stuff out there. So that is entirely up to you, and it might depend on what you have available to you. So I guess just keep that in mind. But so yeah, you want some good brushes. I recommend a good model holder. I have found that to be more than worth it. That will, of course, come down to just your own personal taste on how you want to manage the model, but I personally have very much enjoyed having a model holder, because your hands have oils, and if you're holding the model by hand, you are likely to wear the paint off, which creates just an annoying amount of extra work. And what else? God, I'm really trying not to attack everybody on the camera with my hands. Get round golden Taklon brushes from Hobby Lobby or Michaels. I use GW paints and bulk Mod Podge brushes. Start with 3 through 6. Those are size ranges. Don't be like the budgie. I mean, you'll kind of find what works for you, so probably start off with a few things. You know, a handful of brushes of like bigger to smaller size. I definitely recommend having like a tiny detail brush, and you'll sort of get a sense of using that. One of the other things that I have found over time, though I didn't know this in the beginning and it didn't matter to me in the beginning for a long time, was having longer bristles on your brush. Actually is really useful for getting detail. Like, this is a really useful brush for me because it's got decent coverage, but it's got really long bristles to sort of get into detail. Oh, and the other thing, I'll give you the advice that Jason from Creature Caster gave me, because he's a delightful human being and really good at painting. He does all the Creature Caster stuff, and oh my gosh, those models are stunning. Whenever you buy a brush, doesn't matter where you buy a brush from, they always put the stiffener on it, the starch. So when you buy a new brush and when you open it, you make sure to dip it in water and like wash it first. Do not bend the end at all, because if you bend the end before you've washed it and softened that starch off of it, you can actually break the tip where the paintbrush won't come together nicely. I think there's ways to possibly repair it. I own some like brush gel, whatever the stuff is. Never tried it, so I don't know, but it's really easy to break a brush, you know, even an expensive one, so always wash it first. Super important. Just like you should always wash your minis. Sort of like just a good rule of thumb. Hey Miranda, hey Daniel. Finishing my Green Knight Nemesis Dread Knight for the first time. Great to work while you do. Nice. Oh my gosh, a Dread Knight. Don't use finger paints. Terrible idea. Jan's just being judgy. Ignore him. What's this figure from? Well, I'm so glad you asked, Tom. This guy is this guy. This guy. He's the King of Nothing. He's a model from Privateer Press. He is actually for the faction Grimkin. He's one of the warlocks, and so he's sort of a hermit. Doesn't like people. It's a little bit snippy, grouchy morning person, you know. But he's my new model, so I'm painting him up. Oh my gosh, I only have a half hour left. Alright, I think we can also dry brush some gold. Let's go ahead and do that. Where's my gold? A lot of staring at my It's over here. Constant migrating paints. So I will be using this antique gold to dry brush on his little crown there. His hat. See you, Kahneman. Appreciate you coming by. The sizes. Oh. Let's see now. Well, I hope it helps, Torrent. I mean, it's a nice aspect of the hobby. I mean, and for some folks, it's like the only part they're interested in. But everyone, you know, it's always nice to have some experience in the painting world. Whew. Get some little dry brushing happening here for his fancy crown. I think the red will look really good on. So on this, since I'm dry brushing over the brown, there's going to be deeper layers for the color. I will just poke those in because the dry brush would kind of mess it up anyway. So I'm not too worried about that. And voila, he's got this fancy little crown on him. It's gonna have some gems or something going on. Get another color in there. I haven't bought a brush in years. It just keeps showing up like they're breeding in my house. There's a brush restorer soap that I use. It's brilliant in getting the dry paint cleaned off the metal shaft. It's amazing if you like me, you're a bit gung-ho with the paint. Oh, interesting. Well, see, there you go. Hey, Extrovert. Appreciate you popping by. Even a quick hi bye is always welcome. I'm going to also just take a little bit and paint the tips here on the inside. He's gonna get sort of a wash on him anyway, so that'll bring it down a bit. But this way I don't have red on the inside where I originally got it. There we go. So now he's got this shiny gold crown on his gray dead tree with the one apple that isn't painted yet, which I guess we can go ahead and do. Get some Master's brush soap. It's always a good idea to clean and condition your brushes. Well, if you start out with like sort of cheap ones to begin with, like once you get really expensive ones, most certainly. But I don't know if it's like, I don't know how much money you want to spend diving into the hobby. I mean, you can. That's completely valid. But if you're prioritizing stuff, you might just not worry about it too terribly much for cheap brushes. That's the word. Alright, he's got some little buckles there. What is that? There's a button there? Does he have a button here? There's a tiny button. Get that on there. Alright. Paint that apple. Have to wash my models? You're gonna have to tell me I use glue to put them together. I mean, if you're really effective at push fitting, bubblegum, I mean, whatever. Glue's just a medium, man. Like, don't let me hold you back. Back to the red, and voila, there's an apple in here. It has no, it doesn't have a leaf. Does it have a leaf? Is that a leaf? Is that a leaf? Can't tell what's a leaf and what's a stick. There's a leaf on here. I have to bust out my green. I don't even know where that is. Do I have a green here? Fine. It's like the apple the evil queen has. Oh, he Take a bite out of it. Rude. Well, we all know that the inside of an apple isn't red, so I guess I have to add yet another color. This is getting complicated. This apple has 3 different colors going on with it. I totally underestimated this apple business to begin with. But here we are. We're just gonna have to do our best. Ta-da! Got my colors. Very simple. I do so love red though. Ugh, it's getting there. Master Soap is pretty cheap. Oh, okay. Well, listen to Samuel then. Again, there's like real painters in the chat and they know what they're talking about. Honestly, I think painting will be much easier than learning to draw. Being detailed is something I'm good at rather than creating. Trust me, I tried learning to draw and it hasn't gone well. Well, you can always do both. Before I forget, Miranda, everyone in my Dreadlands gang is now level 2, and I have $200. Well, I'm so proud of you. Do I airbrush at all? I do not. Not sure if that question was directed at me, but if it is, then I do not. Yeah, my Winsor & Newton Series 7 is a beast to maintain. Dude, I watched a video on YouTube the other day about how a Series 7 brush is made, and it is bananas. Also, I didn't know you had to kill Kolinsky weasels. That did seem a little odd just for their fur. Like, I don't know why you have to kill them all. But even aside from that, just the making of it, that there's just these primarily women who have spent 30 years perfecting the art of making these brushes, and there's a whole artisanship to it. It's just stunning. It is one of the most stunning processes I've ever seen. It's on YouTube, so you can just rabbit hole that if you feel like. Yeah, I imagine you won't buy another brush. I'd say I'd like to start out painting decently and work my way up. Yeah, there you go. Harlow's done, just needs facing markings and some Tester's dull coat. Nice. I'm a little distracted making food in between chat scans. Oh, that's all good, Jazz. Master Soap is the one I use. Awesome for your brush maintenance. Grab a couple of cheap brushes and 1 or 2 good ones and they'll last a long time. There you go. Lorraine knows what he's talking about. Now on to the treasure chests. Happy belated birthday. Oh, thank you, Corey. We're doing all right. Let's see. I use GW Moot Green, the brightest of greens. Do I need to put a super bright green? So, I've got this crocodile, this leafy orange, or green. Might go with that. I've got this like festive, insane green, but that really does seem like that would be too much. So I think I'm gonna scale that back. Oh, I've got vineyard green. There we go. That's the one. That's the one. All right. I'm going to get a second coat of red because I do want this to be a shiny, bright apple. Despite that the king of nothing is sort of, you know, a sad, lonely pessimist. Probably spends too much time on Reddit. Doesn't mean that this apple needs to be. It can be a happy apple. Bob Ross would be so proud. Red makes you go faster. Is that a rule anymore? I don't think it is, right? I don't expect my first mini to turn out like Leonardo da Vinci work of art, although I won't complain if it does. But I don't want a poor start because drawing is not in the cards. Case in point, my best work I can do to this day is martial arts stick figures. I mean, okay. If it's not something, but if it's something you enjoy, I guess is my thought. Like, don't not do it if you have enjoyed painting, I should say. Ooh, that's a great, beautiful vineyard green to go with this. Yes, that was the right color. Good job, Miranda, picking out that color. Now, because I'm going to be using purple on his mushrooms, pink, purple, whatever, I'm going to add purple to his crown, but I'm otherwise avoiding just throwing a whole lot of colors on this model. I, again, would rather keep it simplified. Oh, look how lovely that's turning out. That looks like an apple with a bright green leaf. Done the thing. Nom nom apple. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying your Series 7 brushes, Extrovert. I was just surprised at the process. I mean, at the same time, they're weasels. So you're like, I don't know if they're pests otherwise, or, but the whole, like, it just feels really weird because it's like, hey, I need your tail fur. So I guess I'll kill you for it. I don't know. It just doesn't, it's not practical to me, in addition to just being kind of mean. But insofar as the brush, it's amazing. I can't tell you how sharp the brush is. On a 2 on all my miniatures, and well, you can see the level of details. Yes, for sure. I thought they just trimmed them as well. No, they don't. Like, when you watch the video, you're like, nope, they killed them. Loopier than normal, should call it soon. Yeah, I've only got like 15 more minutes anyway. It's okay, man. The King of Nothing is just really dedicated to social distancing and self-quarantine. Oh man, that's right. I guess that kind of does fit the theme, doesn't it? Good job, King of Nothing. Way to be an example for others. I can't see his eyes. What the hell am I supposed to do? Just get some facial features in there. Should be fine. But we can try to get a little bit of the mushroom gross color going on, nasty mushrooms, but you know, we can at least make them pretty. Just gonna get another coat of green on this, make it a really vibrant apple and leaf. I feel like that's appropriate for this model, it being the most vibrant part on it. He hangs out with the witchwood, which is this huge tree my friend Flo painted. Fantastic job. And there's a lady that's kind of part of the tree, and she lures you to her with an apple on the miniature. I guess in the game, she actually lures you to her with a siren song, and then the tree, like, eats you, basically. Ta-da! And we will have to, let me see here. So, I guess since the apple does have a bite taken out of it, we're going to have to get sort of a sandy color in there. So warm white, and then probably dry brush a brown over it. Is that how I do it, or would I do it brown with a white? It would be the other way around. Dry brushed brown. Yeah, it gets you thinking, if you're not okay with fur coats, I can be okay with brushes, but then I'm okay with leather products, so shrug. Well, yeah, it's just leather. It's like, you generally eat them too. Like, I guess it's the economy of it. You're not eating the weasel, though. I don't know what they do with it. Maybe, I mean, even if it went into dog food or something, I suppose it would make more sense. It's just weird. It just, like, it doesn't sit right. They are amazing brushes. Oh, what was I working on? We need to add, I kind of want to finish the apple, but I don't know that I have the right white with me. What do I have here? That's weird. That's a really weird color. Where did I get this one? Oh, interesting. It's literally called Skin Tone. I have no memory of picking this one up. And yet here we are. It's very, very pale though. Let's try it. I've been listening and lurking. Well, welcome. On the upside, since I don't have school at all anymore, I finally managed to hang out through the entire paint and chat. Well, it is certainly nice having you. And I'm so excited you'll be at Valhalla and we can play Fallout and chill out. Laugh about the madness that has been happening over here. You know, this is very pale, but it kind of works for like a bitten apple. Oddly enough. There's pink in there, so kind of goes with tonally, luminosity wise, whatever, with the apple itself. Not a tree king? No, he is the king of nothing. He rules no one but himself. It's totally his thing. Very self-isolating. He's the quarantine man. Social distancing, as Viper pointed out. Or whoever. I think was it you, Viper? I don't remember. Oh gosh. I mentioned I've been going loopy all week. Alright. So, as you can see, some rude person took a bite out of this apple. So it's not even like a full clean apple. It was a beautiful, happy, shiny apple growing in the middle of this desolate plant. And then someone comes along and takes a bite out of it. The audacity. And, as is what happens with apples when you take a bite out of them and you turn around and, sneeze, the second you look back, it's browned. Oh my gosh, what did I do? Why is it so tight? I literally used this color. Ow. Well, thanks for popping by, extrovert. I literally can't open this thing. That's okay. I have a plan. I'm gonna use the brown that I still have here. Maybe poke through it. Yep, there we go. Just get some water in there. It'll be fine. I couldn't open that paintbrush at all, or that bottle at all. So I'm gonna have to go downstairs and get some vice grips. Make that happen. Okay. Trying to be more social, but I lost the pick I use here for Discord. Hey man, it's all good. Painting has changed over the years. Now painting is something as simple as a box. I may use 5 to 8 different paints instead of 1 or 2. My goodness. That is pretty intense. Alright, so we're going to take that brown. We are going to dry the brush, if you will. I feel like that brush needs to be even drier, honestly. Sort of dinged it up a bit. The sepia will help a lot with that. So I guess we'll get there. But anyway, it's now a rudely bitten apple. Okay. Said mushrooms. What colors have we got here? I like that vibrancy. I don't know that I have like a good purple with that vibrancy. I don't know that adding fluorescent to my... What happens if I add fluorescent to my purple? I don't know. Let's see. Let's experiment, shall we? What do we get, folks? What do we get? That purple really brings it down quite a lot. Let's keep it more pink. Well, it's kind of getting there. More of a lavendery kind of color, maybe. I don't know. Kind of matching, isn't it? This is kind of what I'm doing here. Taken my literally fluorescent pink and added a dash of purple. And we're just gonna see if we can't make that work. But I don't know that I love that. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do. Do I love it? I can't decide. It's like it just needs a touch more. A teensy bit more. That purple goes a long way, man. Now I think I'm getting a color I love. It's kind of funny because it glows in black light. I don't know if it'll glow now, but yeah, kind of funny. That is what I want right there. Sort of purpley, but not fully. And yet like sort of a vibrant pink in there. Really gotta mix this like crazy though. Let's give it a shot. Right on the model, just right on there. Who needs to water down your paints? Wow. Actually, it's not even thick enough, so it's gonna need layers anyway. But hey, at least I got the mushrooms painted before the chat ended, or before the stream ended. So that's exciting. Yes, that seems like an appropriate color. Just needs to get the coverage on there. So that'll just be a few coats. Now remember, it's better, for the beginner guy in here, it's better to do a few thin coats. Don't let your paint go on so thick that you're losing the detail of the model, the quote-unquote Elmer's glue effect. So make sure to avoid that where possible. Just thin layers, be patient. Sounds like you're already pretty patient, so you'll be able to get a sense of it. Even cheap paints can go on nice and thin. This does look a lot like the fuchsia I mixed, didn't it? Pinky. Hey, Mandragora. Wow, I haven't seen you in a while. What are you doing? Purple pink, exactly. I'm gonna have a look at the Fallout minigame. I got Diamond Shard into Fallout on the Switch, and now he's fascinated with the world. Excellent. Question to all: is anyone excited to try Warhammer's new Aquilon cereal? No. Wow. Man, so many things. Okay. What else is going on here? Is anybody running into GW Paint Chat noonish time? Alright, cool. 2 minutes. I can get another layer basically on this. And then I'm gonna have to call it done, guys. I mean, the model won't be done, but I'll have made excellent progress, more than normal, with your delightful company to thank for that. So I super appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Appreciate the belated birthday wishes. And hopefully you guys didn't get fooled too hard for today, for April Fools. Blizzard, World of Warcraft, came out with their joke video announcing the Burning Crusade not for Classic, only to enter a Rickroll. It's great. It's delightful. And it's funny because anytime you get anytime I get Rickrolled, I usually just sort of chill out and listen to the whole song because I like the song anyway. So I'm like, oh, they got me! And then like bop to the music for a while. So it's really just never that bad for me. I don't know, should the underside be pink, purple too? Seems fine. I know normally they're like more of a light color, but I sort of already have this color on my brush, so seems like this is fine. Well, I've got 1 minute. I've got 1 minute left. Ooh, that's an Elmer's glue effect. Don't do that. Interesting glazing effect I'm kind of getting. And then I will probably put like little white spots or something on top of it just to bring out the detail of said mushroom. So there we go. We have a chewed up apple. We've got a crown. His face isn't painted in yet. He's just sort of got a base color there. We've got sort of the gray bark of the model. And then these gross little mushrooms on there. Not bad progress for 90 minutes. And I'm going to take my wet brush and see if I can't fix the pink I just managed to splatter on here. Because that's what I do. Better. Okay, ta-da! 90 minutes. Good job. Totally accepting this as part of our birthday hang. So still check out TTS soon. For sure. I agree. Sorry. Check that out. He's progressed. Alright. I might have made an April Fool's bat wrap. What? I want to see. That's awesome. Alright. Finished painting some giant worms. A pair of bound victims. 10-woman team of raging heroes footmen moving to Mantic sisters. I don't know. Maybe the ladies, the raging ladies, they're pretty good. Also, I'll say this, since I suck at drawing, I'm worried about doing details like symbols and motifs. I have an idea to use templates, but would like to hear any recommendations. I mean, you can find decals, and I think there's even places online where you can get custom decals made. Then you just have to learn that technique of sliding a decal on and getting a little material that sort of eats away at the edges to hide it, and it's a whole separate process, but it's more of just a mechanical process than an artistic one. Oh. Thanks for the chat. Better get some rest soon. You're not getting any younger. Thanks for the reminder. And yes, that's true. Just got back from an awesome night hanging with a girlfriend. Congratulations. Sounds awesome. Anyway, I'm headed out for the night. Have a great week. Try to keep your sanity. Stay safe. Be nice to people. Be nice to people who are still working, because they all need to be reminded of that. And we'll see you next week. Bye.